Hi, Rachel Tessman here from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and today is March 11th, 2026. I have a pre-recorded instructional video for this fun fold card that I'm going to present to you today. It's a card that I created for a team swap for the March 2026 Stampin' Up! Onstage Convention in Long Beach, California. Right now, as I've released this video, I am there, but I recorded this video a week before I left. My card, and then a few more that I'll share at the end of the video, all feature the Garden Poetry Suite collection. It's a new suite that debuted on March 3rd in the online exclusives section of the online store. You'll want to check out the online store because not everything is in catalogs. We have a lot of things just shared online. Now this suite is gorgeous, very bright and colorful. It has a lot of beautiful products in it. We have the Berry Burst Shiny Ribbon. We have the Garden Epoxy Dots. The bundle, of course, which is called Paradise Garden and includes the stamps, the dies, and an embossing folder. We have the foil. This is a specialty foil called Garden Textures. It's got a little texture to it. And then we also have the Garden Poetry Designer paper. Now this bundle, it features a hybrid die and embossing folder combo. So when you get that, you get both of them together, and I'll show you how to use them in just a second. We won't be using the embossing folder, but we will be using the dies and the stamps, and we won't be using the foil. It's gorgeous though, but we will be using the designer paper, and we won't be using these embellishments. But you could make a version of this card using all of the stuff if you wanted to. I just didn't have enough that I could space out for my cards that I needed to make. Now, you get 12 sheets of designer paper in a pack, 12 double-sided designs. So here's the same paper, just showing one side and the other. 6 double-sided designs, so you get 12 altogether. And the colors, just gorgeous colors. We have Berry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel, Coastal Cabana, Crush Curry, Flirty Flamingo, Night of Navy, Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, and Shaded Spruce as the featured colors. I'm going to be cutting every paper, every one of these 12 papers, into 4-inch by 12-inch strips. So 12 times 3 from one sheet gives me 36 cards. This is why I'm making this video before I'm actually finishing the cards, because I want to make sure I can show it to you before I run out of product. So let's begin. For each of my 36 4 by 12-inch strips, I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch. And be careful when you're scoring designer paper because it is thinner than cardstock. You don't want to press too hard. 3.5 inches, and then again at 8 3/4. And if you're going to make several cards at once, you probably want to be wise about it and score all of them at the same time. So again, that's 3/4, 3.5, and 8 3/4. And then what you can do is rotate and cut your strips. Now I cut my strips ahead of time for each sheet because I wanted to make sure that I had kind of a guide before I did the video to show you which direction to kind of cut your paper. And I chose that ahead of time because I wanted to make sure that when I was folding this, and actually I'm going to go this way instead, I think. Oh no, I'm going this way. No, I'm not. Oh, there's so much to pay attention to on this card. See, even when it's pre-recorded, I make mistakes. So I'm going this way with my papers. I think originally I was going to go with my leaves on the outside, but it was too busy for the front in order to add this decoration here. Just too many leaves, right? So I made it so the smoother side was on the front. So that's the way I'm folding this piece. And then I will show you the other papers here really quickly so you can see. So for that one, I think I'm set. Let me see here. That one goes with this paper. Okay, so the next set of paper, so that's the one with the reddish color on the back side all the way through, the Poppy Parade color. Then we have this sheet, and I chose to cut it in, see, this one's kind of random here too, just like this one. Well, this one actually has an up and a down. So that is something that kind of helped dictate how I was cutting, because if I was cutting and I went this way, my flowers would be going sideways, right? So that one already kind of had a direction to it. But because this doesn't, I looked on the back side and I said, oh, if I cut here, I have a lot of red all on one piece, but I kind of want to get here, this is the one. This is the one where I had barely any red, and I didn't want that. I wanted to have some red on all of them, so I cut in this direction to get that. On the purple one, this one has a direction to it already. This is up, so you'll want to cut this way. On this one, the same thing. You have an up and a down, so you'll want to cut this way. You want to cut horizontally on those up and down ones. Here's another random one. So I flipped it over and I went with, let's see, what did I go with? So 1, 2, here it is. It's going this way. So if that helps you for your cutting, you're going to cut in this direction. And then the last one here, also random. So I flipped it over and I decided to just get a dark to light on each one. And that one is the one that I made for this card. Okay, and isn't that fun how it closes? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut and fold all these papers. As I'm working my way through the papers, it came to my realization that you probably want to score the directional ones on the side where you can see the direction, because this is going to be the right side of my card and this is going to be the left side of my card. If I score it upside down, I might get confused. Okay, so keep your paper in that way facing you when you score. You can also cut 2 to 3 paper sheets at once with your trimmer. Just make sure that all your score lines are going in the same direction. For the base of the card, we need a 1/4 sheet of basic black. So we're just gonna cut at 4 1/4 inches in this direction, which is half of 8 1/2. And then in the other direction, it looks like I need a new blade. Sometimes there's just too much dust in the channel of the trimmer too, but I have been using this blade a long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that out, but also take my blade, bring it down here to where there's a gap, kind of shimmy it out of there and put a new blade in. Just kind of curve it in as if an airplane is diving and you just slide it in. All right, let's cut this other piece. Get those little frays off the ends. And we'll cut that at 5 1/2 inches. Oh gosh, so much better. Okay, so I have here 4 bases from one sheet. And if you do that with a bunch of paper, you can get all, oops, that's for another piece of the card here, but you can get all your bases out of, what's that, 36 divided by 4, 9 sheets of cardstock. Another black cardstock element of the card is a 4-inch, and I think I have to trim this just a little bit, a 4-inch strip, okay? And we're gonna just cut 1/2 inches out of this. And you could make it 3/8 of an inch. You could make it 3/4 of an inch, but you don't want to go any further than about 3/4 or 7/8 of an inch, because the piece that you are placing this under on your card is going to fit right here. And this is already 3/4 of an inch. So if you make it too much wider, and again, you could go to like 7/8 of an inch, but if you make it too much wider, then this is going to be super thick as it sticks out. So I'm just trimming a 1/2 inch. Another tip I have for you when changing out your blades is to take the base that it comes on and just take your old blade and stick it into there and then throw it away. That way, if anybody puts their hand in the garbage, they're not going to get cut by that blade. The inside of the card is actually a pocket that I've punched with a circle punch so that you can add a gift card, because this is obviously a thank you card. Thank you, you are appreciated. Inside could be a little gift card as a monetary thank you, or some money. Or you could just take and put a white panel of cardstock here and stamp your leaves and your words. So I grabbed the envelopes, because I had a bunch of these, from my Memories and More pack of cards and envelopes. I just had a ton of these left over, but you could use, you know, the note cards and envelope size, any little mini envelope that would work too, but this is like the size that I used in here, so I will put those aside. I do not have silver foil on hand as I'm recording this video, but I do have this scrap here, and I'm just gonna cut a 1/2-inch strip from this scrap. And I'm only gonna have a portion of it peek out anyways, so this one will complete the card, but this is literally all I have left. I'm waiting on an order. It should be here today, hopefully. All right, and then you need some pieces for die cutting. So we need scraps of white and scraps of white for this and for this, okay? So now that we've talked about the envelope inside, let's go ahead and stamp that. And again, it can just be a white layer. It measures 3.5 by 4.5. So for that, I'm gonna stamp this sentiment in Tuxedo Black ink on the flap. And there's that. And then for under, we're going to punch. And you can punch about 1 inch in before it's exposed underneath the flap of the envelope. So again, 1 inch in is best. And you really can't get your envelope or your punch in too much further. I'm using the 2 3/8 inch circle punch, but if you have a different circle punch, that should work too. Now this will also be a guide. So this 1 inch here, when you ink up your leaves, and I'm gonna use shaded spruce for this sample because it's already inked in shaded spruce. You're gonna stamp off onto your grid paper, and then you're just going to kind of eyeball where it's gonna sit and stamp right up to where that circle cutout is so that it has that look to it. And then you can see it's like perfect, right? Okay, so the colors that I used for my leaves coordinate with the different papers. I've chosen Shaded Spruce, Poppy Parade, Crush Curry, Berry Burst, and Blueberry Bushel for my 5 colors for the 6 papers. So you'll see that, you know, one of them I think I used twice. I don't remember which one yet, but it gives a really nice look when you stamp off too because it's not so harsh. Here's a quick look at the end results of each of those colors after they've been stamped. So this is the Shaded Spruce stamped off. Here is Blueberry Bushel stamped off. Here is Berry Burst stamped off. Here's Poppy Parade stamped off. And then this is Full Crush Curry. So I did not stamp this off because I found that the stamped off yellow was a little too light. All right, we want to create these 2 pieces now for our card. And we're just gonna take a scrap of white. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna die cut the banner and then stamp within the banner. That seemed to work for me last night. But for the leaves, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp them first. And then remember that I mentioned that the embossing folder coordinates with one of the dies, and I promised to show that to you, so I'm gonna do that right now. So this is a 3D embossing folder. I'm gonna take away the die adapter plate and the 2 cutting plates, and we'll just have the base plate and this number 4. For embossing, you can get this beautiful design. It's so rich and so deep. I love the 3D embossing folders. But you can also do an embossed paper that has cuts in it. So that's where this comes in. And what you do is you line it up so that it kind of grips those areas of your embossing folder. You can kind of feel it. It will line up with that section. At least with this folder, it's on the logo half. And then I think I'm gonna put my paper this way so my die doesn't move on me. I'll just lay that like that. Fold this over, put this between the platform and the gray plate, and then we'll crank it through so you can see the end results of that. So you can already see it's cutting through. If I had a longer piece, I wouldn't have that one leaf that's all taken out there. But I could trim it up later on. Anyways, so you get this, and when you turn it over, you have these leaf sections that want to kind of pop up and off, right? They have that more 3D effect to them. Another thing you could do with these is if you wanted to, you could have, cut all the way so that you had tiny little usable leaves for accent sections on your projects. So you have a couple different options with that embossing folder. And I just wanted to show you that because it's part of the bundle, but I'm not using the folder on the card. Okay, so here's a couple samples, some card samples that I have shown previously, social media, blog posts, videos, but I just wanted to give you some samples with that beautiful folder in the background or as an accent. It's just lovely. I love this banner die cut. You actually have a small impression in the top and bottom edges. You can see that there. And when you lay it down, you can see that this is a straight edge here and a straight edge here. And so this can be your up direction. It doesn't quite matter though when it comes to stamping something on a curve because you expect it to be curvy, right? So, but if you were worried about it, you could totally position your banner with the straight edges parallel to vertical lines. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my thank you so it's flowing within this design. One last tip I have for you if you're going to make multiples of the cards as I'm doing is to take a sheet of darker cardstock and die cut these two shapes from it so that you have this type of little cookie cutter type thing here, okay? Then you bring in a stamp positioning tool. This is a tool that will be made available soon. We don't have a date yet, but it was an exclusive join offer bonus last month. And it is now just in the hands of those who have it. But if you have a positioning tool, you can do this technique. So you line up your stamps where you want them. Then I will grab my plate that goes on top and I'll press down to lift those stamps up and off. I'm going to connect this with some temporary adhesive just to kind of hold it in place. I used my grid paper for lining things up. Let's just check to see. That looks good, but we can adjust it afterwards. I'm going to ink this up now with my tuxedo black ink. And it doesn't even have to be inked up well. We just want to find out where that image is going. Let's put those magnets down on this piece. Okay, so now I can take and I can shift this a little bit. And because this word is not that big of a deal, I'm going to go ahead and shift this so that my leaf image lines up really well. And now I can press this all in place. And if I want to, I could even take and draw some lines here in case my gray kind of piece here comes out of alignment. Okay, so we have that. Now we can take and ink this up. And we're going to, and I got some ink on my thumb. We're going to take and put little die cut white pieces that we've pre-done. So this technique does away with having to line things up with little sticky notes after you've done your stamping. Instead, you take and just, quickly cut out a bunch of your shapes, the number that you need, lay them into your little puzzle here, ink up your stamps, and press it down in place. Isn't that awesome? it makes it super fast when you're doing multiples. So I'm going to whip out a few more of these. And now we're on to the last step, which is assembling. We're going to go ahead and take our folded designer paper pieces, put adhesive on the back side. You can put as much as you want. I'm just doing 4 in each corner, and we're going to attach that in the center of our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch basic black. Then we're going to take and flip this and add some adhesive really close to that edge. Lay this piece down and then connect that adhesive to that black strip so that we have this little accent along here like that. This card, like my first one that I shared with you that's in all green, is getting the second green, but you could totally do a blueberry bushel leaf on that one, because that's a combo of blue and green on that paper. We'll add that to the center. Let's do the same thing with our other cards, our other papers. Just a quick revisit to the original card that I shared at the beginning of the video. You can see how we have this layer, the sentiment layer, which is acting sort of like a little closure on the card. So we're going to raise that up with dimensionals. We're going to add the top portions, or the outer portions, I should say, of these leaves with mini dimensionals, and then that's going to get tucked underneath on our silver. So let's go ahead and add some adhesive like we did for the black strip so that we can add the silver strip. And remember, I just have a scrap right now. And it's okay if you have adhesive that's sticking out, because you're actually going to put adhesive all over the back side of that section. And then we're going to put dimensionals on the back side of this piece. I'm choosing the black mini dimensionals because I have a dark card. So we're just going to go ahead and add 4 dimensionals on the outer portions. We're going to leave this part alone. We'll peel off the backing, and we're going to fold this up as we tuck this piece in. And I actually tucked between these leaves here, so this one's going to get covered up. And then we're going to slide it upwards. So it is about, and we want this piece to kind of line up with the silver, so that it's about 1/8 of an inch from the top of our card. Right about here, this section here is lining up with the silver, and then we have that tucked under. And you can go ahead and flatten that whole thing down now that we have that tucked. This piece, we'll put some dimensionals on the back side. I'm going to use the larger dimensionals this time, and I'm going to turn it over, and that's going to help guide me to put my 3 dimensionals on the back side. And this one's just going to get kind of close, maybe about 1/8 of an inch away from where this piece separates here. Flip it over, and I'm going to see how I did it on this one. I think I have it. Yeah, it's pretty far down. So we can take and shift that so it's underneath the leaves. And then we'll add our rhinestones. Now this card was influenced by a card that Brenda Euban, one of my team members, had made, and it is gorgeous, don't you think? Take a peek at this card. She has multiple layers. I'm sorry, I'm having camera issues. I'm going to fix that in just a minute, but look at all the pieces that she has layered onto that. That would have taken me a long time to do for 36 swaps, so I chose to make mine on the simple side. I'm using about 5 rhinestones. Rhinestones, to me, even though they're considered clear, they have a silver look to them. You can color them if you want to. I am leaving them clear to match with the silver foil. And I'm so sorry about the camera. I think my camera is thinking that there's like something close up. I don't know. Anyways, I apologize about the in and out. I'm just going to put a few on this panel over here. We'll stick a medium one right in there. And then we'll take a tiny one and add it to this lower corner of the sentiment banner. And there is our finished purple card. And hooray, my foil just arrived. So I finished up the rest of the cards. Here's my finished blue and green card. The Poppy Parade and Cajun Craze red and orangish yellow card. The Totally Blue card, so pretty. And then one more that has the Poppy Parade and some of that orangish color on it. The Garden Poetry Suite, you guys. Oh, and this fun fold card for the Onstage Convention. I'm going to have so much fun swapping these cards out. If you are interested in purchasing any of the products that I use to make these fun fold cards today, you can go to the description of my video and get linked directly to them in my online store. There's also a link to shopping my online store, and if you decide to make a purchase, you can possibly earn loyalty points, tutorial bundles, that sort of thing. So just know that I am very grateful for your orders. If you are a demonstrator, order from yourself. If you have a demonstrator, order from them. Also, there are links to the other things in my description, such as the actual blog post that's connected to this video. So you can see close-up photos of these cards. The video is embedded in that post. Measurements are there. And so it's a great place to go visit. You'll want to do that. Thank you for the thumbs up. And thank you for subscribing to my channel so that you can continue to come back for future classes. There is a link also in the description of my video for my calendar. So if you want to see when my future classes are, my lives, pre-recorded, that sort of thing, you can click on that calendar link and see that. Thanks so much for joining me. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.